I'm Al McFarlane. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Conversations with Al McFarlane. Today, I want to share with you important conversations that happened over the weekend. The group called Youth Task Force, Young People's Task Force, pardon me, held a youth summit at North Community YMCA on Friday, Saturday, into Sunday. Several powerful, excellent conversations. I'm going to share with you one of them today, and I'll be sharing others in later editions of the publication. Here, this program opens up with my colleague and friend, Al Flowers, preparing to introduce panelists, activists, and community who engage and are engaged by members of the Young People's Task Force. This is an event that took place at the North Community YMCA, and this event was on Saturday, the 30th of April. Check it out.
Trying to protect my daughter. Trying to say, what you at my house at 11:30 and she at home. She had did she at home because she had a break for us. So she was at home. So I didn't understand that. At the end, I ended up getting beat and went to jail. So I understand, but I want you to listen to Miss Cindy and Alicia and them, and because you got to think broader of what's happening here. And like they said, that for real, we got to know. We can't say we don't need the police in our community yet, and we got to get there. That's someplace we want to be, but we got to get there. So I understand. You want to say something? Absolutely. We got to figure.
Hey, over here in Bloomington, in Bloomington at the police, as Booker Hodges getting ready to be sworn in as Bloomington Police Chief. That's brother and his sister-in-law sitting there. The crowd. You on there right now? You on there right now? Yeah. Hey. No, that's his brother. That's his brother he loved. And that's his brother and his white kids. Look what I'm saying, brother. We ain't gonna leave her out here. If it weren't for her, they wouldn't be here. So we over here just checking out the moment. Checking out the moment. You see, he got his old friend Bernard. You can't outtake me. I'm the man now, Bernard. This is his barber and is one of his best mentors. He bring them all out. There go Mark with the Barberside of Mental Health Foundation, a mediation member. This is his old coach, Greg McMoore. This one, see, he wouldn't let him hang with me, so he turned him into a police. That's Greg McMoore, our great Greg McMoore. There go one of his best friends. Used to be a member on NERC board a while back, and we couldn't get nothing done when he was there. But him and Booker been together forever.
When they ran for governor and lieutenant governor.
Yeah, Yeah, they showed did. He picked him for lieutenant governor. That's what he is. That's what brother Zach always been there. I see Booker out there getting ready to come in here. They're seeing a little few people that go, hey, how you doing? Now this Pastor Dale, this man married him. He married him and Lorinda, and I was the only witness, and this pastor would tell you that. Booker drug me in, married his wife, didn't have a ring or nothing, and Dale married him anyway.
We go a long ways back.
Yeah. That is Dale.
Through the boundary waters.
That's what. This somebody that Booker loves. So I know you're proud today. Yeah. He's been. Yes, I am absolutely. You've been with him a long time, Dale. Say a couple of words. Huh?
It's the hockey.
It's the Hodges connection. Yeah, there you go. That's
I actually started with hockey before that.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just by chance. I was his teacher at Franklin.
Yeah, I should have expected you to be here. I should have knew you was gonna be here, and I'm glad. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. He's gonna be a great chief. He's gonna be a great chief. That's Miss Johnson there. That's Miss Johnson there. You know, I don't know if I've seen Dwayne.
I've never seen your name running for mayor anymore.
Huh?
We could use you in that last election.
Yeah, no. You needed me out there to keep fighting, saying we need the police. You know, and I'll say it publicly. I said it, we got to work, we got to build them relationship. You know, people saying we don't need them, and we going through all that violence, and I'm not. That's unacceptable. So, yeah, we got to work together. We got to work together. You know, yeah. That's it. Let me put my eye on that chief. Yeah. Put that. Yeah. Look here. Yeah, that's waiting on Booker to come on in. He should have been in Minneapolis though. We could have had him in Minneapolis if
Minneapolis just wasn't smart.
they weren't smart. Is that what happened? Oh boy. Well, they better be smart when we whatever they're gonna do.
They lost their opportunity.
Yeah, they lost a great opportunity. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. You know. So yeah, that's what's happening over here. Yeah, that's what's happening over here. Booker will be sworn in as chief of Bloomington Police Department. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. You know. You see, they go Harrington over there. Hello. Hey, how you doing? All right. Yeah. Yeah. I know Lisa was somewhere around here. I don't know where she at. There she at. I go Metro Transit over there. That's yeah. Hey, probably ain't seen this many black folks in here in a long time. But he's gonna be a great chief. Yeah. Great. Yeah. No, let me get one. Let me get one.
Man, I love this guy, man. So what best time? Okay, I feel you. He didn't stop taking pictures since.
Let me give you some background. I was starting to replay a panel of the Young People's Task Force, but somehow I'm pulling this content from my colleague Al Flower's Facebook page. He was on the scene, and somehow the video jumped to the next on his Facebook page. As it turned out, it's quite interesting and quite important. What you're watching is kind of like, behind the scenes, or I call it cinema verite. It's like real-time documentation of an important event. The event is a North Minneapolis kid who rose to be a suburban police chief. Then he rose to be the assistant commissioner for public safety for the state of Minnesota. And from there, hired on to the Bloomington, Minnesota Police Department. Bloomington, that's where I think Bloomington Richfield Mall of America, the southern suburbs of Minneapolis. But it's a big community and it's a big job. And Booker Hodges is the person that has and was recently sworn in as the new chief for the Bloomington Police Department. We'll listen to a little bit more, then I'll switch back to the previous. I'm Al McFarlane, and thank you if you're watching. If you stop in, share this with friends. And yeah, this is kind of an open mic day. I'm just sort of looking at things that we've done before to reshare in the course of this hour today. So let's check out Al Flowers' video of the inauguration of Booker Hodges as police chief in the city of Bloomington, a suburb of Minneapolis.
I love you, man. Take care. You got a whole. I mean, for him to put on a coat.
Yeah, I did that. Hey, I didn't put that pistol. I thought that pistol would be fuck you up real, you know. I didn't want to.
No, this has got confidential. Okay, we'll put it away, man. You got to shake hands and hug people, man. What happened? Shaved all this. What's up, Bill? How you doing? How you doing?
That's the chief of Bloomington.
Chief, what's up?
That's the chief of Bloomington. That's Zach. Yeah. We already talked about when he married you, and I was the only one there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a true story. He didn't have no ring, so you know his wife loved him. You know, let me get out y'all way. Yeah, no, y'all don't want no shot of me. Y'all trying to get the chief.
You gotta stop crying, man.
Yeah, no, ain't no crime, though. Ain't no crime.
I'm here representing.
How's Zach gonna start filming like me?
Now I'm going to try to fast forward a little bit and see if we can catch the actual remarks by the actual swearing in of Booker. And I'm not sure where this video ended. Actually, I haven't seen it before, so it may be all just kind of people in the audience before the event actually took place. And that appears to be the case. So I'm going to stop there. And as always, congratulations to him. So let me try to. Here's the video that I was attempting to show, and let's see if we can check it out.
Trying to say what she at my house at 11:30, and she at home. She had did, but she at home because she had a bracelet on. So she was at home. So I didn't understand that. At the end, I ended up getting beaten.
Flowers is talking about his one of two conflicts he had with the Minneapolis Police Department. And this one resulted in him being beaten badly.
We got to know, we can't say we don't need the police in our community yet. And we got to get there. That's someplace we want to be, but we got to get there. So I understand. You want to say something? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We got a big.
No, I see same thing happened again, so I'm going to stop this. There was some glitch there. Here's maybe the part of the panel.
You can work in Minneapolis. Otherwise, you stay in Eden Prairie, you stay out there in Maple Grove, you patrol your own neighborhood, and let the people in our neighborhood patrol us. We want to put the community in the cops. As a matter of fact, I'm going online to say that cops, right now it's cops and community, which means they can do whatever they want to. We're going to flip it and say community and cops. We're going to put our community and the cops so that they have the mind frame of the community. I guarantee you we'll be living. We'll save some lives.
I think the biggest thing that's changed, right? So I'm 30. The biggest thing that changed is the relationships that they have started to not form with the youth when it comes to the police department. When I grew up, my first basketball coach was a police officer that lived in the community that I was in. So the Police Athletic League, PAL, was something that's changed my life and allowed me to see a perspective that was different and presented me with opportunities a lot of kids that didn't have those. Like going camping up north and seeing the Northern Lights, and I lived north side of Minneapolis my entire life. Eating Starbucks for the first time because his white police officer took me to Starbucks and didn't even know what that was at the age of 12 years old. And so the biggest thing to talk about, Miss Cindy was just talking about, is that what changed is that the cops no longer live in our communities. They live up in Egan and they're coming there policing Minneapolis, and I think that's backwards. But all the cops that I were exposed to when I lived over north, and so it flips. And now you have these people that don't care about our babies, don't care about our community, collecting a paycheck, and they already have this preconceived notion of who we are.
Absolutely.
So when they come into this community, they see that, they say, you know what, I'm gonna poke at them because I already perceive them as being violent, being animals. So how do you think it's gonna change? We have people that already have this perspective. And so to go back off that, A, we need to be in the interviews, or B, has to be someone that's in the community, that's policing the community that they're from.
And even when they're in the community policing it, we still have to put our stamp on it, right? Because everybody that's in the community ain't the community. No different than everybody who's black in a position of authority ain't doing the work, right? But that's a whole other segment. But my point being, if you are employed to do a job, then that's what you should be doing. And it's not for you to get this badge and get a pass to do whatever you feel you're comfortable with. And here's a really big thing that I think that a lot of the police officers come with. They come with this fear, right? So how can I patrol when I'm already afraid? Mm-hmm. I got my hand on the trigger already. Say something wrong, and right now, if you say something wrong, I'm already quick to pull the trigger, right? So I got to know how to have an awareness. I think this Mr. Will said, have an awareness of who people are, what they are, have that love and passion. Humanize, have a feel for humanity. Because I think that whole idea of humanity is gone. And just like I think it was you who said, if we're in their mindsets, if they think that we're animals, then that's how we get treated. That's why we get slammed on the ground, knees in the neck. You're an animal. I got to control you. And that's been the problem with a lot of police. I think they try to control what they fear. And so they fear us. And so the one thing that they need to do is control us. And if they can't control you, you know what they're doing next? I'm killing you.
And Cindy, I got to just on this conversation because of what Rikaya said and then what you said, what you're going to do when somebody's breaking into your house. And I think we got the same philosophy on that about how do we stay safe in our community. Because you got a lot of kids think like Rikaya, right, saying, no, we don't need them no more. We don't need them no more. I've seen thousands of kids saying that we don't need them no more. And then some of us say, hey, wait a minute, hold up. We do need them. Like you said, we got to reform. We got to do different things. But then and I say this to you because I think you originally from Michigan, and then with something happened in Michigan where they killed a brother and they just and like shot him in the back of the head. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, how do you keep me? I'm like, man, wow, and I'm fighting hard to say, no, we got to have both. But then you see this happen, whether it's in Minneapolis or wherever it's at, then you say, oh man, how you defend it?
No, you know what? There has to be some accountability. That's the reason why when this whole thing came out about the Minneapolis police, the findings, where's the accountability? If there is no accountability, what you have is mayhem. And what you got right now is mayhem. Yeah. They get a slap on the wrist or a 15-minute timeout, and then you go back out there and handle your business. Kill another nigga, get you another ranking, right? Okay. If there's accountability from the chief, and I'm serious, and the mayor Fry, you don't get a pass. The interim police, you don't get a pass. This is on your watch right now. So if things are happening on your watch, that means something is not going right. That means there are police officers who may have several investigations in their file, and they're still working. Why are they still working? What's been done with those? So there has to be some type of processes in place. There has to be some accountability. And then when that happens, I believe that we can move forward. That's part of that education and that reform. So Brother Will said something earlier. He said, Mama and them and Grandma and them, the way that we can take back our community is we go back to that, where the village takes care of the family, takes care of the community. But right now, we can't, because every time we go to do right, what happens? The government comes in and says you can't do that. So this is a systematic cycle that happens because these systems were never in place for us to excel. They were created to keep us oppressed, right? So we can't discipline our children. Oh, but they can put a knee in their neck and kill them, right? So if we go back to mom and them and grandma and them, just like he said, Coming down the street, you got hit, you got whooped by Miss Willie, you got whooped by Miss Samantha, and then when you got home, Mama got you, right? And then you better know you're gonna get some correction. So if we go back to that village, raising our families, and get this whole idea of, and I don't care, we got 1,000 organizations. All of our organizations need to come and have the same mission, and that is to protect our village and to redevelop our village and move forward. Because I'm gonna tell you what, as soon as we realize and come together, woo-wee, talking about some power, and that's the reason why they divide, they conquer and divide us, because they know when we get together, what can happen. But as much as they can keep us divided, the more they know that we ain't gonna be able to do that.
I was say I really just crave transparency. It's like what are you looking for? Like who are you looking for? Like just be transparent about it. I asked him a question the other day and was conference. I said, hey, you know, you go this deep, but how deep can you go? Like, does this go down to the I call it capital cost? Like, you know, like who's behind the scenes on this? Like who's running this operation? Who told you go look at this person? Like, be really transparent in what you like and what you're looking for. Right? Because it's really exhausting when you're trying to do your best out here and they just continue to come at you every single thing. And it's actually scary. It's like, are y'all following me home? Like, what should I do? You know? So it's like, I asked that question too. I said, well, who are you looking at? Like, what did they do to make you look at them like that? Like, what was it? And we can't get any answers. And I think that the thing I'm craving is just really transparency. I don't want to hear surface level investigations. I need you to go deep. I always tell people you cannot hit. You can't grow healthy fruit around roots. So we need to get down to the root of things. Who is it? You know what I'm saying? Who's behind this operation? I just want to know who's the main leader. If you gotta get down to it, get down to it. But I don't care if it takes you 10 years to do it. You gotta get down to it. Because nothing's going to change. So we do need the police. I'm not chasing after no Jeffrey Dahmer. You know what I'm saying? Like you got all these serial. We got more. Look, there's bigger problems than what we have now. We got serial killers, kidnappers, drug cartel. I'm gonna need the police to handle that. But with Thomas, like, come on now, like we gotta do this together. It has to stop. We need them for something, but we don't need them.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's said a lot. I'm along with the sisters and, you know, and the young people. It is a delicate line. The need for reform is an overstatement, right? We already understand that. But it's really hard to reform a culture. And so the reality of it is something different has to come about because culture always comes first. It doesn't matter what we do. We never will get to the root cause. You have to figure out a different way. And so, you know, if someone break into your house at 3 a.m, and you're a young person, and you're like, I don't really think the police need to come because I'm afraid they may come and suspect that it's me and they may kill me. That's a real fear.
Yeah.
You know, where you reach out for help, and the response may end up with you on the other end. And so, it's an unfortunate reality, and many of our young people only know this reality that we're living in. You know, post George Floyd. That has been their constant, where they're seeing really high-profile killings by the people that are hired to protect and serve. And so, how do we offer a balance when we have officers or people who want to change the system, people who want to change the culture that can't find an end? It's a really trying thing to do, and it feels almost nearly impossible. You have to like totally scrap the entire system and start from a new base, which nobody wants to do because then that leaves chaos and mayhem that has already been mentioned. So where do we find that balance? Because it feels really impossible. It does. And when you witness what you see in Michigan, this cop is on top of this brother and literally executed. And we didn't need an official video to come out to know that what the witness had reported and released was true. There was no way for you to alter that video to say, yeah, I just want to put this together in my studio real quick so that I can release it. This brother is laying dead because he was executed by a police officer over an alleged traffic stop. So here we are.
And I'm gonna say, because first of all, we got my granddaughter, and she, and so the experience of my family, like I said, I tell all the time, I've had 5 fights, 5 brutal fights every time I leave and bleed. So when I can understand her saying, no, we don't like them. And
Okay, then let's come back. I'll stop that. I have another program in queue. Oops. Let me go back here again. Hold on. Start my camera. So I have another program in queue that we will do that is interesting as well. That was a good conversation. The last voice you heard was that of Alicia Smith. She is a member elected to the Minneapolis Park Board. She is the executive director of Corcoran neighborhood in South Minneapolis, a young, I call her and her colleagues fierce advocate for social change and for defending and advancing the dignity, the rights, and the opportunity for our people in our families and in our neighborhoods. So what I'm going to do next is go to another piece that was part of the weekend, the Young People's Task Force. And I have to get it queued up here. I'll stop sharing the one that I had and open up a new share here in 1 second. And now you can connect with me just by putting a message in the chat, I think. Share with audio. There we go. And click on that one and I'll share it. And we'll see if we get the audio. Let me know if you're hearing this okay. I'm going to play it now.
Involved with that, and we letting our kid go figure it out on their own and end up getting into these situations. I know with my kid, to find out my kid is going through a situation, I need to know who my kid is beefing with, and I want to talk to that kid and the parents of that kid, and we got to figure this out. We can't just let our kids just, fight with each other and shoot at each other and go through it and throw our hands up in the air like, hey, that's the kids. No, that's all of us. So until we sitting at a club and at the end of the night, we having fun at the let outs, kids get to shooting and we all jump up and we just be happy that we didn't get hit until we all jump up mad as hell that it even went down and we was put in that situation. And all of us need to find the brothers or the sisters that was shooting and doing what they was doing. Collectively, we all need to get up and go find them and tell them, look, we ain't got nothing to do with the beef that y'all got going on. Now, if we can help y'all try to squash it, but if y'all want to shoot each other and kill each other, y'all have the right to do that if that's what y'all choose to do. But don't put us in it. Y'all can't be shooting in the neighborhood or shooting around these women and kids and putting us involved in y'all's beef. If y'all want to go meet in some alleys and do what y'all do with each other, hey, y'all have the right to do that. Go do it. But we shouldn't be involved in that until all of us start standing up and getting involved with, these brothers and sisters that are beefing with each other. Then it's going to continue to go on because they feel that ain't no consequence. They feel like they can go shoot, maybe do this and do that. And too many of us are dodging bullets that ain't meant for us. And that's all we do is just be happy that we didn't dodge that bullet when we need to be mad that bullet was even coming our way. And and I just think that it takes all of us to start saying, you know what, let me get involved with this as far as being able to say, man, brother or sister, who you beefing with, who you got some problems with? Well, let me go on social media, let me use my connections through the streets, whatever it may take to go get with that individual and see if I can get y'all to come and sit down and try to work it out and figure it out before it continues to escalate and do more damage than it's doing to this community. I think that's what I'm trying to do.
Another thing too, man, we as black people, man, we got to realize that this, man, our ancestors have brought us to this point, man. Man, we didn't overcame the oppressor. We still going against the oppressor. We didn't beat the chattel slavery laws, the Jim Crow laws. Our ancestors have brought us to this point because of spirituality, man. And now when you see these brothers, they are spiritual, man. It's got to be consistent across the board. You can ask these brothers, man. Every Tuesday, I'm committed, man. I got to be committed. So when that little brother that just got shot on 33rd, a couple of these brothers ain't here because, man, they sobbing, they in trauma. But the first thing I did, bro, don't retaliate. Call me, tell me where you at. And another brother wanted to retaliate. So you got to be consistent. I tell the wife, I got to go deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And she got to be committed because it's an investment, man. This shit is an investment. This ain't nothing to play with, man.
Right.
And so when you got folks out here that's inconsistent, I mean, coming out of the bars, drunk and hanging and buying stuff from these kids, they're not gonna trust you, man. And then you're not gonna be able to build a relationship with them because one, let's really talk about it. You got cats in the community sleeping with their mamas and daughters. You can't have it. Then you talking about being with these young brothers, man. Then you're buying weed from them. It's a mess, man. But I know we can get through it if brothers like us continue to let them be the voice of the culture. And man, like I said, my name is Will, but I do God's will, man. I've been doing this 31 years, bro, straight. And brothers and sisters out here doing this work is tired, man. This ain't no easy job, bro. To be able to change the mindset, the consciousness, to wake the sleeping giant up, man. That's what they is. They sleeping giant just walking, man. But if you work that conscience up to say it's only two ways. You're going to go right or you want to go left. If you come right, bro, I can tell you. Like I said, it's spiritual. You're going God way or you're going the devil way. You're going the higher power way or you're going that way. So, bro, it's there in front of us, man. But I say it again. You got these city politicians, bro. And I want you to, I'm really going to get up and say it, man. It's not about people not doing the job. It's people's getting cut out, man. It's a game out here, bro. If I don't know you, then you don't get the money. Or let me say this: if you work for the white man, you know, man, look here, bro. I'm gonna tell you, all of us, a white person is involved with us getting money, some type of way. So you can't come with this talking about, yeah, man, you work for the white man. You work, no, bro. Behind all these closed doors, that all these side deals going on, it's leaders right in front of the white man. But come out and tell brothers that work for an organization that the president is white. Come on, man. We got to get back to where our ancestors are telling us, man. We can do this, man. But our tongue is our worst enemy, man. And brothers that sit at the table might not be your brother, man. Some people are only here for a handout. And then they leave the community, bro. That's why I say they are black street scholars, man. They can tell the story better than anybody else can because they see it every day and they're about it. So, and to say that, man, I'm all in, bro. But also, I'm tired as hell because simple fact, man, this have weighed in on when you got brothers who done had strokes, sisters in the hospital, lungs collapsing, and brothers is just tired and stressed. And we don't even have access, man, to funding. And then if we really want to stop this crime, let the president's daughter or son get shot. Man, they'll shut this down, bro. So when America see us as them and humans, then we can roll. Other than that, it's just us, man. All we got. It's us against it's us against the world, man. And it's tiring, bro. It's tiring when you constantly getting phone calls. When I gotta talk to a judge because one of my guys in my program did A, B, and C, but on the conditions he can be in the program, he's out. Or a brother crying in my arm because he's saying, Mr. Will, I want to retaliate, man, because my friend just died in Shiloh parking lot. Let's get you out of town. Man, it's these stories that people don't hear, bro, that I'm going through daily. But what I'm doing is I'm paying these brothers, man, because that's what they go to the block for, man. They want to get paid. But until we reap the, ain't no way in hell Broadway should be looking at where it is, man. Where's the youth center like you talking about? Why should it take this long? We trying to get a youth center and emerge. It's a youth room. Why is it taking so long? It's the system, man. It's a system that's set up to keep us back. But until we say enough is enough, man, I seen this when I was going to the City Inc., bro. Gang banging. Gang members. That's 86, 87. Shouldn't be no more Will Wallace on the corner, man. It should be Will Wallace got housing. I mean, their own housing, their own entrepreneurship. We can't leave nothing to our kids, man. We ain't bosses or nothing, man. When we gonna change the reality, man? It's us. Until you your own boss, you working for somebody else. And what you gonna leave for your shorties, man? That's what I'm trying to teach them, man. I fear no man but God. I know he's the answer, bro. He's the answer because he led our ancestors, man. Come on, man. If Harriet Tubman freed the slave from the south to the north, come on, man. It's deep, but man, we gotta change the gun laws. Man, bro, like I said, if we really wanted to stop, if the officials really wanted it to stop today, they know what to do. They'll come through this joint and shut it down. But us as man, you can shut it down too, man. But you gotta be consistent, man. You can't be one day and the next day doing something different. Because they watching. Ask them. Hey, man, what I'm saying, they ain't seen Mr. Will drunk. They ain't seen Mr. Will come to work high. They ain't seen Mr. Will come out of a bar. They ain't seen Mr. Will sleep with their auntie. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on in the community, bro. And let's talk about it.
No, you absolutely right. I'm glad you brought that up because one thing that I've been saying for years, like when we sit at these tables, and you know this, Will, and Mickey as well, I always say, how do we expect for the young folks that got real life bloodshed behind their pain, right? Like they homie really died that they grew up with, or they cousins, little sisters at this point, little cousins, whatever. How do we tell that person not to retaliate? Hey, try to go a different way, de-escalate, move in a different direction. But at the same time, us quote unquote leaders, I would say, right? You know what I mean? Because I don't put myself as a leader. People look at me that way. I appreciate it. But us as leaders, we can't sit down at a table because we got a simple disagreement on how things should be done. If Mickey say, "Hey, I believe I want to go in the room and turn left first," and I say I want to turn right, and I'm gonna go this way, but we both gonna meet at the same spot. We got a relationship where we can deal with that. But you see a lot of time in our community where it's, "Oh, you finna go left? I'm going right. I'm not messing with you at all." Pastors beefing with each other, right? We gonna talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah. You got real life pastors that's supposed to be our pastors that walk around, they beefing with each other. I've never seen nothing like that in my life where pastors is disrespecting pastors. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna get into children and all that stuff because I don't put that on. That tends to happen a lot of times with pastors' children. But I'm talking about the pastors themselves. When they disrespect our people coming, they got a mentality where you gonna listen to what I say or I ain't gonna mess with you at all. You get what I'm saying? And I've never seen nothing like that where a church ain't accepting people because of the way things work. So for me, I'm kind of glad you brought that up. And I really want to touch on the fact that, like, one thing that Mickey kind of touched to with us parents talking to the people. My nephew, he out there playing, but my nephew, he's 12 years old. He just turned 13. He's 13 years old. Last year, he got in a little fight or something at the park. Now, this dude family, they was on something different. Luckily, I knew the guy. I knew his uncle. He called me like, "Hey man, this your nephew?" I'm like, "Yeah." We was able to settle that situation right here. But here's my problem. I want to kick it back to you, Mickey. Here's the problem that I seem to have a lot of time with, especially my generation. I don't talk about my generation. We get in situations where once that parent do come and tell you like, "Hey man, your boy acting up." First thing don't tell me nothing about my kid. Don't talk to me about my kid. Leave my kid alone. So we talk about this village and how we can do things, but a lot of people don't like people talking to their kids. So I wonder, how do we do that and combine this conversation? Like, what do we got to do? And what do we have to do as the parents too? Because you're absolutely right on that. How do we get out our own way sometimes? Because sometimes people don't, they tell me if you think I'm lying. Like, it's a lot of people don't want you talking to their kids. If their kids walking around on the streets, "Hey man, come on, little homie, it's grandma right there. Stop cussing. Don't tell my kid what to do." It's that type of mentality. How do we speak to that young person and of course in a respectful manner when you also we got some conflict resolution that we don't know how to deal with as adults, and they got bloodshed, but we got political disbeliefs or differences of opinions. I'll give you a perfect example of the vote yes, vote no last year, right? As a black man, either way it go, I already knew we was gonna be in trouble, right? Because I know the police ain't done no good for us, but we definitely can't live without any law enforcement. But yet, that caused people to start calling people coons, start calling them Uncle Toms, start saying, "Hey, you would have stayed on a plantation if it was slavery." And I'm like, my goodness. So, how do we as adults, though, as we talk about the young people too, how do we as adults and leaders, Mickey, I'm gonna go back to you. I'm sorry that was a little long-winded, but how do us as leaders, though, get past our little subtle differences to really fight for these physical pain and trauma that these young folks is going through?
So with being, I say, chosen by God or your higher power to do the work that you're doing out here in these communities, you have to first have that belief that if this is God's plan, you have to let God work his plan. You know, you have to understand that, you know, you're not sent here to save this world, but you sent here to assist on helping to save this world. And when you believe that wholeheartedly, you understand that some things God wants to have happen because it's going to lead to something else. You know, there's a young, kid that, was murdered. Of course, it's hurtful. It's questionable. Why would that young kid need to be murdered in your eyes, God? Why would you do that, God? But God only knew that that young kid getting murdered came to change some laws aimed at certain things that helped us later on in life that we didn't see at that time. That young kid going through what that kid went through. So a lot of times when you run into some parents or you run into people that don't want to see it for what you're trying to say, all you can do is try to continue to encourage them on, the importance of letting some of this stuff go so that they can see that future, so they can see that light that you're trying to get, in front of them. But at the same time, you have to understand that not everybody is going to see that light. Not everybody is supposed to see that light. Not everybody is supposed to, you know, um, realize that certain things aren't for them. It's just the truth. Like we can sit back and we can talk about not arresting our way out of these situations, but at the same time, we can stand here and say some of these brothers and sisters need to go to jail. They need to go somewhere. They need to sit down somewhere and get away from what they're going through right now, because maybe that might be the thing that changes their life and get them, on to live in a different way. I mean, I went to jail as a kid. There was a time when NWA came out, and I thought I was the next member of NWA, so I was out there doing things just because the music told me to go do it. And that caused me to go to prison. Once I sat in prison next to another man shitting in front of me and realizing that I ain't want this life for myself, I had to get out, but that saved me. That chance of being locked up and put away saved me and got my mind state to believing and thinking something else. And in some cases, that was, I personally believe, my own opinion, that was God. And we've all had grandmamas and mamas and different people tell us, sometimes God will take you away to save your life. Sometimes prison will save you. Sometimes being somewhere else will save you. So, I'm not going to advocate for saying that we don't need law enforcement and we don't need certain things to happen in these communities, because we're losing lives daily in our communities with just that mind state being lost. We talk about systems all the time, the systems that was put in place. And we do, and I will admit that, yes, there are systems that established were meant to destroy us as a people, or to even hold us down as people. But if we want to take some of those systems, such as the education system of whatnot, our grandparents and mamas and daddies went through the worst education system it was. They had to walk miles of school. They had the worst books. They had the worst school systems ever back in those days. But yet still they fought up out of that to go to colleges and become something in life. So that's the proof that you can beat a system if your mind state is there to beat that system, such as the judicial system and all. We all know there wasn't a case that I ever caught in my life that before I caught that case or after I caught that case, I didn't sit in that police car and say, man, some told me not to go over there and do this. Some told me don't ride down there. Some told. So I'll be allowed to say that I didn't have that conscience or that God or that higher power, whatever you want, that was with me every single moment of my day. I just chose to say, I ain't listening to that. I'm going to go do this. So with it being said, it's there for us. You just got to learn, like this brother said, to tap into that and stay on that. You can call it whatever you want, your flow zone, your higher power, your God. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But stay connected to that, and that'll help you change your ways, change some of the things you're going through, and change your outcome. And until you do that, then you're going to steady fall victim to this telling you go do that. That's what we're doing.
I think the other piece too, man, is back to the system played a part in the reason why there's two things. It plays a big part in the reason why we cannot tell such and such, oh, don't say that to my child. Oh, well, I'm gonna say it. Because you need to sit down, she needs to sit down, man. You're a grown person. But the system brought that in place with the what they call it, I'm gonna call child protection.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other piece is these little brothers in my program, I'm not having it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I'm gonna get on their neck and they'll let you know. It's because it's an investment, man. It's gotta be consistent, man. If it was consistent, then I know such and such. I know Sheila. I know John. Because, like he said, we know these parents, man. These are parents we went to school with. That some of their kids out here doing what they doing. And so, if it ain't consistent, bro, man, we get what we get, man. But the system is stacked up against us, but we still can get through it at all times, bro. And these brothers will tell you, man. I got a mandatory texting system, bro. And man, look. If it's 2 or 3 in the morning and one of them fall on my heart, I'm texting them. How you doing? Where you at? 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock. This is at night. That don't just know it's not. He's like my kid. Because you know most of our dads locked up, man, or gone straight. But man, that don't stop us from solving the problems though. You know what I'm saying? And it's on us, man. We got black leaders, we got black people got lots of money, man. But they leave us, bro. They go in la la land and they don't come back. They leave us, man, to continue to invest in the system. Being from Mississippi, oh man, grandma and them ain't having it. You talking about I can't say nothing to your child. Auntie them ain't having it. We got to get back to that, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not that we are afraid of our young generation. It's that man systems in places that if I bucked up against him, he know he can call such and such man. But at the end of the day, man, look. Many is called, look here. Here's the other thing too. Here's the other thing too, man. Many is called, but few is chosen. So you got a lot of people out here that is in the many that's doing it. But the chosen ones you can tell. Because I come back every time you call me. And it's consistent, bro. Y'all seen us back in 2014 with all them yellow shirts in the street works, 200 something kids, bro, that we used to run every summer. Didn't have no shootings, going all into different neighborhoods. That was, you talking about the lows, the highs, the 1-9, SUV. I had them all. But the thing is, I've been consistent. It's different.
So I think that some of us get caught up with too much of what the next person is or ain't doing, and let that affect what our aim and what our goals should be. And a lot of times, a lot of these meetings that I've been in, and we talk about the politicians and we talk about the different ones that's out there, choosing to turn a blind eye to what is happening in these communities. It's easy for all of us to use that person, and feel a certain type of way, and get angered by that. But we have to stay grounded to what our calling is for what we was chosen to do. And with that being said, it's like we can't say that because the next person ain't doing this or they ain't doing that or whatever, I can't let that affect me. I have to be able to say, I'm going to continue my path, saving the ones that I can save, understanding that if I can't get this to change on this end, I trust in my higher power is going to take care of that his way. I can't take care of it maybe the way that I see it should be taken care of, because all of us have been put in situations where we thought that if I added up this and this, it was going to equal this, only to realize it didn't equal that, and it wasn't supposed to equal that because God didn't want it to equal that, because you don't control this. You are sent here to do a mission, but you don't control the outcome of what that higher power wants. And we need to understand that whether it's these politicians, whether it's these other people, whether it's that parent that you can come to and say, your son did this, and they yell back at you, my son did this and that. My gripe ain't with this lady or with this man for feeling that way about her son, because that lady or that man may have come from a background that never told them what that was supposed to look like when somebody came and told them about their kid. It's plenty of us, it's like being a father. How can a woman have a baby with a man and get mad that he ain't been a father, but that man didn't have no father growing up? He don't know the closest thing about what fatherhood even looks like or should be like. The closest thing he know in his eyes is being a father means that I put my kid in some Jordans and give him a pair of this and a little money. That's what father, because that's what he felt he may have missed coming up being a father. He don't know about the time he spent So then you got a woman arguing at the man talking about you ain't no daddy, you ain't this, and all you do is violence with joy. Well, that's what I thought being a father was, and vice versa. Being a mother to a kid. A lot of mothers play dress up with these little boys, and then wonder why the boys ain't really boys running around here. Why they ain't as tough as they maybe should be. I mean, if you tell your son go in here and put on this cute little outfit and go on the side, and then when he come out in the house and it's dirty and you cuss him out for getting dirty, well, damn, he can't be a little boy. I thought I'm supposed to be able to go outside and be a boy. So now he got to grow up being a little, less dirty, if that's the way you want to put it. He got to grow up not wanting to, do certain things because he going to get yelled at for this. He going to get yelled at over here. So it's a lot of stuff. So it's a lot of stuff that we have to be able to see for within ourselves, but at the same time not get frustrated because somebody else don't see it the way we see it. And like you said, with us coming in the room, you go right, you go left. Let that person go ahead and go right. If you know that it's going to end up back in the back room, let them go ahead and go right. And you just sit in the back room and wait for them to pull up. You don't grab them and tell them, come on, I'm telling you, we got to go left. We got to go left. No, sometimes God needs them to go right so God can get them over there walking down that right way to get them to say, no, I'll go on back over there to the left. Go on left. That's just how we have to try to be sometimes.
So as we're on the topic of like violence and prevention, and Mick, you talked on words like fear, and I've heard like commitment and investment. From the de-escalation standpoint, what are some tips or advice to give to everyday people that aren't involved in the community or aren't really invested, but maybe come across a situation that they can potentially de-escalate?
Happy to jump in, yeah. You do that work too, but
I mean,
I would say one thing. One is that we teach is that we have to listen, because when we're listening, we're gathering information, we're assessing the situation. What's going on with that human being that is out of control, doing these things that are dangerous, that are offensive, that are just really not acceptable? What's going on with that person? Then we can think about what can we say to them? How can we address them? What happened to them that's causing them to be in this state right now? Something happened. We need to listen to them to find out what happened, and then we can begin to take those steps. What we usually do is we react to the behavior. It's offensive. It's maybe it's threatening. Maybe we're just not going to put up with it, and so we react to that behavior. But that behavior is being caused by a whole turmoil that they're in, a whole fog of things that are acting on them, things that happen to them that have never been addressed. So listening is, I think, a significant thing. A lot of times people feel when you say listen, you're saying don't do anything. But we're not saying that. What we're saying is, figure out what's going on so you can make a plan. So you can decide what road can we go down? What can we suggest we do? That would be my
I think working with young brothers that I work with, ages now we down to 14, 24. I think with them coming into the program, I think the first thing that I put on the chalkboard is forgiveness. That's a word we don't throw around. If they're coming from the streets, you got enemies. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna forgive to be able to start your healing plan, right? On the de-escalation training, all the brothers you see have went through a de-escalation training with nonviolent peace force, right? So we talk about risk assessments. We talk about safety of our community, where these young brothers, alongside of me and nonviolent peace force, when the Chavis trial hit, these young brothers, along with their staff, we was downtown at the protest, providing safety for the protesters. On top of that, we also out of this, and we was talking about folks talking about defund the police. I don't agree with that, but out of the situation, 4 of our brothers that are alumni got jobs at Extension School to go over there to provide safety for the school, the children, and the teachers. So we're giving these brothers opportunities, right, to be able to prove that you can reconcile your difference, man. You understand what forgiveness is. Then also, me personally, I don't deal with fear and force, bro. I don't play that because they're already coming from broken homes that there's fear and force there, right? Then plus community there's fear and force. So how I work through it is through love and passion. I get them every time, bro. I don't mind crying in front of these little brothers, letting them know how much I care for them, and they'll tell you. I break down in a minute, man, because it's pain. Our ancestors, it's in our DNA, man. This ain't nothing. Like I keep saying, it ain't nothing to play with. That's real, man. And they'll tell you. And something else, they are junior consultants, is what I call them. So when we call the meetings and this, I'm not coming to get paid. I want them brothers to get paid because our ancestors paved the way. They can tell the story better than I can because they living it. So why shouldn't they get paid? And like I said again, they are Black Street scholars, bro. They can tell the story that the mainstream have left us, and then they telling the stories, but they ain't really telling it like they is. So the de-escalation, yes, we do it, and we are. Matter of fact, we also got 4 brothers right now, like you said, getting paid money to be able to teach the younger brothers in the program what de-escalation look like, and we in the neighborhood too, teaching that, bro. So we're gonna make an impact one way or another.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, man.
Hey, as we like got 5 more minutes for this segment, but I want to make sure that we get it across. What can we do? What can we do to help? You know, we got members from the NAACP here. Pastor Bethel is the state Baptist in the state Baptist. We got can I ask that question? What can we do to help? I know I'm doing everything I can to support the cause. Mickey, Will, Mark, me and Mark on the UCMT together. But what can we do to help? And yesterday, 40 rounds went off across the street where I live, right there on the corner, California. And then my kids or anything has been asking, what can we do together that, or to help you need, particularly when we have the NAACP President Sidney Wilson here. And so I know this is good. What can we do to help?
Well, I'll say definitely spread the word that my organization and his organization, and so a lot of these other organizations exist. You know, they're here to help. I don't think there's a lot of the community that knows that there is truth centers. There is a place where you can go and hopefully squash some of the beefs that's going on. That there is maybe a merge that that's out there that can help young brothers and sisters grow and change some of their mind state and the way that they think. I think me personally, I need to have people that are in St. Paul know that, if you're not from St. Paul and you go over to Minneapolis, you're from Minneapolis, these are the organizations that do the same work that are over here in Minneapolis that can help you, and then vice versa. Minneapolis needs to let the community know that there's places in St. Paul that does the same work also. I think that us as organizations, whether it's the NAACPs or different, fascists that's out there, need to understand that we do not have the answers alone. I don't know. The more I started gaining in life is when I told myself, man, stop being a Mr. Know-it-all. Stop thinking that you know all the answers to everything and that you can do it by yourself. Once I realized that is when I started to flourish in life. And I'm saying that from a young standpoint, but when I was a young brother out here in these communities, feeling like I knew it all and I could do it all. it was only until God tapped me on my head and let me know that you don't know it all, you need to accept that for yourself, is when I started to grow as a young man and started to experience the best life that I could possibly experience, continue to move forward. So that's something for young men and women to understand, that it's okay not to know it all. To understand that you have a lot of life that is out there for you to live, and that you can absorb certain things in your life that's going to help you to flourish and become the best person that you can be. But you have to allow yourself that inside. You have to be able to let go to your thoughts, your beliefs, your systems, and say, let me think about some other ways and take in some other advice that might can help me. And I just think so personally, it's just spread the word. Let's just spread the word that these organizations are out there such as mine, and we're here to help, and we're always just a phone call away, no matter what time of day or night it is.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that. And I know you're finna jump in.
You got a question?
I know you're finna jump in, Will, but what I wanted to say, one thing that we like to say as the young people is, and you just hit that perfectly, is collaborate and not compete. I think a lot of times people are in competition trying to save lives. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that should be a competition. That should always be a collaboration, because we all trying to save lives, right? It shouldn't be, well, Mickey saved 10 lives, I only saved 5 lives, so next week I got to try to save more lives than him. I should be congratulating him because all together we saved 15 lives, right? That's how we should be looking at it. So that's just one thing I want to say as you go into this question of what can we do to help.
I think somebody, Tony, you had a question? Answer.
What was your question again?
What mine was, what can we do out here to help not only them guys that run these organizations, but help in this situation.
My point of view, coming from a scholar student, we just got $10,000 per student. We'll really need to see how this goes. We see that, I want to say, 100% every student, every senior got excited. Even if they weren't going to college, they're going to college now. It just a little belief in students, goes a long way. So what I'm trying to say is, more opportunities we get, better I feel like the outcome will be for our community, not just for certain groups. I feel like that was supposed to go to everybody, every school, every student. It's supposed to keep going. It's not supposed to be a one-time thing. It's supposed to be, students should be able to not have to worry about tuitions and stuff like that. That's really like knocking you down. You want to go to Harvard, but you don't got all this money. Now you got to figure out a way to get the money. And you got to make sure you get your grades right. And you got to make sure you take care of your other stuff too. That's a lot to juggle with. Just not going to college and you got a lot of stuff on your plate. It's a lot. It's more than just it's more than just killing to our community. It's more of we need to actually go in and figure out what we need as a whole, not just one part or one piece. Everybody needs to chip in and help. Everybody doesn't know everything. And he just said, I actually just wrote it down because he's amazing. One of the people who knows it all. And he just humbled me a lot because I don't know everything. So just coming from that point of view, I just feel like everybody chips in, it'll be amazing.
Just you speaking right now, because this is live. This is live. You speaking right now. It's helping somebody else, and to hear you say that, and we do need to get together to make sure that y'all have more opportunities. That like you said, you might not go to college. They might not go to college, but somebody cared enough say I'm gonna give all these students a few dollars because that's all it is. But to some, it's all good. So I'm just thankful that you spoke up in here at this time and keep speaking up. Be the speaker. Willie's gonna come up and talk about what he's doing in the NAACP. He ain't talking about basketball. I love what y'all do and when y'all speaking. So to be here with and saying what you just said, it's gonna go a long way. Somebody else gonna have the courage to speak up, and we don't all know it. We all think we know everything. I know I do too, brother. So, and then and that's just the way it is. I think.
He don't.
Yeah,
Right with you, bro.
yeah. You had something.
Okay, I just had a comment I wanted to make, because I came in for the end, but what I've heard, what my ears have heard, and my spirit has felt has warmed my heart. What needs to happen, brothers, is y'all need to be in the schools. They need to go from school to school to school and give this information. This is power. This is, I mean, where the young brothers are at the school before they're in the street, right? Get them in the school before they get out there in the street. But they need to hear this information. This is some valuable information. And so we're talking about all of these other organizations that are out there. Yeah, them too. But we need to be in the schools and we need to hit these kids up wherever they're at. If they're over here on the corner, let's get them up on the corner. And we, you know, the money that all of these folks are getting from the mayors and the police departments and all, this is where it should be going. To folks who have experienced it and who's doing it so that they can talk about what it is.
And just well, because I know this segment closing, and we got the NAACP coming up next. But I would love to set up a meeting with Mickey and Will with Cindy. That's what I do best. I'll set up a meeting in a minute and met me and call and say what time that meeting was. So, but I would love to set up a meeting with them.
Yeah, I would love to see them at one time.
Yeah.
Before they graduate. Good. I would like to talk to Mari and have them do some type of test or something, and have these brothers come in there and talk to these kids just before we're going into summer. So this is popping off now.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
just imagine what summer's gonna look like. Yeah. But if they can deposit some of these nuggets into these babies before the summer starts, we might be able to cast that net and just reel a few over here.
Yeah. And I wanted to really point out and thank you for what you said, my brother, because you said something that really resonated with me. And this happened to me actually at another meeting too from one of our younger members. She was like, you know, every time it seems y'all speaking to us, the only conversation y'all want to talk about is violence and shootings. And she was like, but I'm not out here shooting nobody. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not participating in that much violence like that. I got friends who might get in trouble, but what about the ones who are not participating in that? And sometimes we do always focus just on the negative because that's what we're seeing. And then we gotta fix it, obviously, right? Don't nobody want to be seeing our people die like that. But I'm glad you kind of pointed that out. That's why we try to add more now when we have conversations, because it was true. I didn't realize it till she told me. That's why when he said you don't know it all, I learn from y'all still. I'm 29. I still learn from younger people all the time. And she said, hey, I'm not in violence, but I do deal with bullying in school. I do have to, because I'm not in violence and I don't want to get into fights and stuff like that, then I had to, you know, it's people end up bullying me because they are in the streets and I don't want to get in that type of smoke or whatever, right? So she like, but yet I just got to get overlooked as a human being, and she a black woman too. She like, but I want to go to college, right? So that when you just said that, it just resonated with me so well, because that was something that she said to me and I really didn't think about it in that light. And I'm like, well, you're doing good, right? You know what I'm saying? That's why we're not talking about it. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You're doing the job that you need to get done. So we're not speaking on it. But at the same time, that positive affirmation and that reaffirmation of saying, hey, you're graduating, we're going to give you a chance, an opportunity to do something. Or, you know, just incentives based on the behavior for our good students and our good scholars and all our people, right? Because we seem to have so much programming for our elite. If you're elite, you good at sports, you're the smartest kid in the classroom, you'll be all right. And we seem to have programs for our people who tend to find themselves in trouble. But yet, especially in our community, we kind of miss that middle ground. And that's why they end up falling by the wayside, as I said. So I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's something that I try to be intentional more now, especially when I speak to young people, to make sure that we understand, wait, everybody ain't out here in this violence. And y'all want to see the violence stop just as much as we do.
Another thing, you said the school thing, I feel like we should do a de-escalation thing, because a lot of problems will be solved if everybody can just have a conversation. A conversation is powerful, like you said. If me and him got a problem, we can talk it out. We might not have to go outside, fight, box, whatever we want to do. We might not even have to take it that far. Only we can use our words. We might not have to use our hands for something. It might not even be that serious.
Yeah, so, man, once again, I want to thank our panelists for being here. This segment is going to get ready to wrap up. You know, I try to eat a little bit in between. But do we have any last words from y'all, brother? First off, let me thank y'all so much. This was out of all the conversations we had, this is my favorite one because y'all laid it out there, and that's what we need sometimes. We gotta just keep it real and put it all out there. But any last words from the panel?
Yeah, let me just say this, man. I don't. Reason why you don't see me or you don't know me is because, man, I give all the glory to God. I don't like being in cameras. I don't like being in front of people. I let my work speak for itself. You know what I'm saying? My grandma always told me, just add a little bit to the recipe. Yeah, that's what we need, bro. We just need people to add a little bit to the recipe. Whether you continue to have podcasts, whether we reach out to NWCP, we just need people to add a little bit to the recipe. And I'm gonna let this be known. I'm not in competition with nobody. But personally, investing in these young people, man, that's what I'm gonna die with right there, bro. Because I know I can just change the consciousness of their mind to get them to think that, man, bro, you can have this and keep focused like our ancestors. It's in our DNA. That's what they need to tap into, man. The ancestors is telling them. It's there, bro. It's right there. And thanks, Al, man. Thank y'all for having us, man, because they the voice of my culture, man. They call me old man now. And I'm enjoying it, man. You know, because man, they run the groups, they run whatever, the street out, whatever I want them to do, they do it, man. Because, bro, hey, man, I've been knowing that kid right there since he was 14. The one that's filming back there, 14, 13. He's still rocking with me. Some of these brothers, man, but at the end of the day, I do God's will, man. But I know He's the one gonna give me my glory in the last piece. It ain't nothing but mountains in the way. That's all it is. And if you ask God to remove that mountain and cast it in the sea, whatever you believe in your heart, it will come, bro. So these mountains stopping us, man. So they gotta move and be careful with your tongue. Grandma always told me the tongue is a powerful piece. So when we start talking about, oh, the summer gonna be hot, the summer gonna be great, the summer gonna be fun, our kids gonna be graduating, our babies gonna be going to daycare. That's what we gotta preach, man. We gotta change that about this violence. We gotta twist it, man. And once we twist it, we're rocking and rolling. So I'm gonna shout out to my guys, man, for being here.
Man, shout out to them for real, man. Shout out to North Florida. They always come through for us. And not only come through, and I always tell y'all this every time, but y'all always be engaged. That's the most important. If anybody with y'all, because I know they pull y'all in a lot of rooms, right? The politicians, I know they be coming. Y'all group full of young black men. We spoke to them. We speaking to black men, so I know that's how they do it. But when they come in the rooms and they come to speak to you, don't just let them use your body. Always stay engaged. Always stay engaged. Ask your questions. Say what you feel. Speak your truth. And so I wanted to thank y'all too for that as well. Mark, you want any last words?
Well, I would just say open a door for somebody. Can I open a door, you know, and I would say keep telling the truth. You know, we don't want to tell the truth. We don't want to look at what the reality is. We have to tell the truth. So don't ever stop doing that. That's all I would say.
I say my slogan every day is another day, another chance. And that's the way I live my life. If you know, God blesses me with another day, He's blessing me with another chance. And that's a chance to change what I might have messed up yesterday, or you know, a chance to just try to do better. So with everybody, just remember that, you know, another day you get another chance. No matter what you did yesterday, the day before, it don't matter, you know what you done went through. With another day, you get another chance of changing that. And then the last thing that I would say is, you know, who's ever watching this, or all of us in this room, go make somebody happy. If your mama's still living, if your dad here, if you got some kids or whatever, give them something to brag about. Don't give them something to go tell bad stories about. Give them something to tell good stories about. And it starts with you to be able to go do that. So when you leave, when you walk around, always realize that when people gonna talk about you, because we all talk about each other. One thing blacks gonna do is talk about somebody. So one thing about it is when they start talking about you, let them say some good things and don't give them nothing bad to talk about, because they gonna try to make up and find something bad about you.
Wow. Woo. That's a wrap for that segment right there.
What a rich program. That happened this past Saturday up at the North Community YMCA. There are other segments that we'll be airing and sharing. I'm Al McFarlane. This is Conversations with Al McFarlane. Be again here tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and we'll see you then. Take care.